Hello, everyone. Welcome to the difficulties of being a creator. This is the first episode of a podcast type thing I want to do. I've kind of had an interest in doing a podcast for a while, but I never had a topic to use it with. But recently, after thinking about it a while, I think the one thing that I can talk about even slightly that could help someone out there is the difficulties of being a creator, an author, whatever you want to call it. Now, I'm unknown on the internet. I'm not even gonna lie. What I do is I mostly live stream. That is the one thing I do the most. But I do also draw a bit, and I'm also writing a story. The story is called Soul Crash, which I will link down below. Everything I mentioned that I do, I will link it down below. But being a creator, even if it sounds appealing to you, if you have the slightest sense of creativity in you, you will want to be one. Can be hard. I'm not gonna lie. It is hard. Sometimes you just get famous randomly, sometimes you have to struggle, which is what I've been passing through. So, for this first episode, I want to talk about beginning as a creator. Now, this is all from my perspective. Maybe later, if I get to have some friends over talking about this type of stuff, maybe they can give their perspectives on things. But for now, it will just be mine and my naive perspective on things because, as I said, I'm not professional. I'm not well known. I don't have a cult following, in a way. So, yeah. The first thing I do want to mention is if you have a project you have the slightest bit of interest in, do it. Write it, draw it, storyboard it if it's animation. Start preparing yourself. Because even if it's slight, if you have the slightest bit of creativity, you have to use it. Sometimes you might think you're not enough to do this type of thing and that you shouldn't do it, but believe me, thinking that will only make things worse. I used to think that. I still think that sometimes. But I've been trying to improve myself, and that is something I am really happy I'm managing to do. My story hasn't been updated in a month, but every time I do update it, it's longer and longer and longer, and I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy that I can keep going. Even if it's just for one chapter, I'm happy that I can do this. Now, when you start, it will be difficult. Not gonna lie. You first, even if it sounds like you're spamming them, tell your friends about it. Tell them, hey, I'm writing a story if you want to check it out. Or, hey, would you like to look at this drawing I made? Or, hey, maybe you could pass by my stream sometimes. I don't know. It might sound a bit spammy, not gonna lie. I did feel like it was spamming, but believe me, it helps. If you ask friends to help you with that, you can sometimes, if you upload things immediately, get them to share it and maybe even get them to more people. That way, if you haven't had that boom from the beginning, if you got popular instantly, which is a very rare case, then it might happen sooner than you might expect. I'm still waiting for my boom. I don't know when it will happen, but I'm hoping it will happen. But believe me, telling people about your projects, telling people how passionate you are about it, does help. And you can also get tips from them. A lot of times when I draw or when I live stream, my friends, if they saw it or if they're seeing it, in case I'm drawing while I'm live streaming, they do give me tips. And they do help me get better. In fact, a friend of mine sent me a lot of practice material to work with, and I'm really happy about it because I do want to get better at drawing. But that's the thing. You have to talk. Because if you stay silent, then no one will know about it. No one will know what you're doing. And no one will ever know. So you have to ask someone else. You have to ask them for help in a way. To read the thing, to see the thing, to watch the thing. It does help. But sometimes it may not even help. I have had that case where I told one of my friends about it, and instead of supporting me or telling me what I was doing wrong or if I was doing something wrong, she just went ahead and threw it into the ground saying it was fucking boring. And then even try to say how I could improve to not make it boring. But in those cases, that friend is just looking out for her. I almost said herself, referring to her. For him or herself. And not looking out for what you want to hear from them. From what you need to hear from them. What you need to hear to improve what you're doing. But when you find someone who does help, when you find someone who can and will tell you what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, then you know you have a good friend. And then you also know what you have to do. Now, I do want to talk about something else. I personally have not passed through this. There was one time when it happened, but it was pretty minor. It was solved quickly. But there is the case of fear within yourself. The fear that you cannot do it. The fear that you have to stop. The fear that you will never be able to do it. And that is a good fear to have. Because it means that if you are fearing that, you are trying to put effort into it. I know that might sound stupid, I know that might sound weird, but it's the truth. Fear is a sign of a strong heart. I know that's from Kingdom Hearts, but it's true. It shows that you are trying to face your fears, that you are trying to get your thing out there, whatever it might be. But then there's also the fear of when you'll be discovered, if it'll be good or it will be bad. That is another good fear to have. And personally, I have not passed to the point of knowing if what I'm doing makes people happy or if they'll get mad at me. But that'll happen in due time. And it will also happen to you in due time. Just one thing. Don't ever give into toxicity. People will try to bring you down. Do not get down to their level. Do not insult them. Do not do anything to them. Just tell them, I appreciate your opinion. It might help me improve later. If you're still here to see what I'm doing, And if I do improve and make you happy, that's good. If I don't, that's also good. My content is not for everyone, and I will accept that. That is what I'm going to try to do in case I do happen to pass that, or if it's not really an advice to help me get better. But as other people can be toxic to you, you can be toxic to your possible fan base. Now, I didn't think this was possible, honestly. I never even thought of this. But then, while I was scrolling through Facebook one time, I actually saw a Twitter thread of one artist who kept nagging to his followers, well, his or her followers, that they were not retweeting her art. And she said that if you truly are a fan, you will retweet it. That is a sign of toxicity. That pushes people away from your content. And I need to emphasize that. Do not be toxic to others. It just paints a very bad picture to you, and it will not help you out in the long run. If you do have toxic problems, try to improve yourself. Go to a psychiatrist if needed, or talk with someone else about how you can improve yourself. That way, you won't have any problems in the future when you're talking with someone on the internet, or if you are not feeling like you are being listened to. In fact, even though I do have some followers on some of my social media, I'm not expecting all of them to retweet, reblog, share. It would be nice, but I know it will not be possible. Because they're also following other people. Sometimes your posts just get filtered to all else that they're looking at. Sometimes they just aren't interested in that specific thing you did, and are interested in one other thing you did. That happened with my Tumblr blog, because even though I did start by posting my story there, I also started posting memes on there, and that was the thing that made a lot of people crawl into my blog. But that did not mean they were following me for all I did, just for the memes I did. And it makes sense. You might follow someone for one specific thing they do, not for all of them. And that's okay. You just have to know what your fan base wants. And even though that might be hard, you can try to interact with them. I've seen a lot of game developers that are close to their communities. One big example I can think of immediately is the developers for Celeste, which are very active within their own community and try to fix glitches that might be problematic to casuals or might be problematic to speedrunners. They help both of them. So if we ever just start giving into toxicity, just try to chill out for a bit. Think about what I just said during this last minute or two, and try to improve upon yourself. But remember to never let that toxicity show, because that would be a bad picture for you. Now, there is one more thing I do want to talk about, and that does have to do with the previously talked topic. And that is the image you will put of yourself out there. You can put your face out there, and that will make it a lot more personal. Or you could be mysterious about it. You could be mysterious about who you are, what you are. Just remember that your image isn't just that. Your image is all of the things that you do. So even from day one, you have to be careful on all of the actions you do, being outside of being outside of social media or in social media. No matter where you are, be careful of what you do, because you never know who you might have pissed off or who you might have talked to wrong. That will make your life a living hell. Or you don't know what actions you committed on real life will come back to bite your ass while in your social media and while you're spreading your story. You have to be careful about what you do. And that is one of the most important things that you have to emphasize. What you do is what you are. What you do is who you are. It doesn't matter if you do good actions or you do bad actions. Mostly, you're a combination of all of the things that you have done. And if you have done something wrong that you know was wrong and that you want to apologize, then don't just try to make up for it. Actively try to fix that mistake within you, fix that mistake to the people that were affected, and apologize. Apologize for the things that you do. I know that might be hard for socially awkward persons. I know that's hard because I'm a socially awkward person. But you have to apologize. You have to talk. If you don't talk, how will you be heard? I know that sounds stupid, but it's the truth. Both literally and figuratively. If you don't talk about what's inside of you, how will people know what's wrong? And that, I think, is the most important part. Now, this is just for when you have started. As for now, I do not have my opinions on the other things, like once you've started and you have exploded in a way, what should you do? How do you manage? But that will come later, I guess. I'll be posting this whenever I feel like I need to update on what I have said here, and if I feel like I need to add something else. So for now, I think that should be the end of it. I know it's not quite as long as other podcasts you probably listen to, but I feel like it was a necessary amount for a first episode, in a way. And also, since this topic, since the beginning is actually quite short, the topic should also be quite short to talk about. But for now, I'll leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed talking and have a way to see yourself and how to improve yourself. And I hope you have a fantastic morning, evening, or night whenever you're hearing this. This is Colin Stryker, signing out.